Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of A Taxing Woman's Return, a Japanese movie from 1988 that was directed by Juzo Itami. Nobuko Miyamoto returns in the lead role, and I would classify this as a comedy-drama hybrid. The following plot synopsis was taken from the Washington Post. Enter Ryoko Itakura, played by Nobuko Miyamoto, intrepid tax inspector, star character of Juzo Itami's A Taxing Woman from 1987, and now a featured player in the director's sequel. Ryoko is a pint-sized sleuth with a raccoon's mask of freckles, who will do anything: climb across rooftops, stage a stakeout, or go undercover to ferret out frauds and tax crooks. Her target this time is Chief Elder Onizawa, played by Rentaro Mikuni, the robustly corrupt leader of a religion called Heaven's Path that rakes in billions and billions of yen every year, all tax-exempt. The plot involves a vast building project, land speculation, murder, and political payoffs. So the film begins with a random cop finding a dead body in a river, and this body is later referred to, or the man is referred to in the press as a land shark. Now, what does that mean? Well, have you ever heard of loan sharks? Well, land sharks are similar, but instead of offering loans and taking advantage of lenders, they offer cash payments for people's land. In any case, we are immediately introduced to the villains, some old dudes stuffing their faces with crab legs, and they discuss that this dead land shark guy was one of their contacts, so he has to be replaced to continue their nefarious dealings. So basically, the goal of these land sharks is to produce or purchase blocks of land for them to demolish everything and build something else that generates a ton of cash, like a skyscraper or something like that, some type of development. And their tactics are based on intimidation. But I will say, if they, let's say they need my property, they would come to me first and offer a decent cash payout. It seemed fairly competitive based on what he was saying. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to sell them my land, right? Maybe I have a connection to the location. Maybe it's good for my business if I have a business there. But the more I hold out on selling, the more intense the harassment's going to get from these guys. So that's how it kind of works. Now, our lady protagonist is already investigating these guys. She's staking them out, using audio devices to listen to their conversations. She attempts to infiltrate the cult a few times, along with tailing them and using surveillance. They raid cult properties a few times during the second half in the hopes of getting some evidence. And there are a few more serious, dangerous confrontations later on as well. There's not that much tax or accounting-related content in this, despite the title. And I will say that this movie does lack the level of detail that something like The Gentle Art of Japanese Extortion had, another Juzo Itami movie. That movie got really into psychological tactics. You don't really get that with this one, or even with the prequel of this. Still, the pacing here is good, and the ending is a bit odd, which I liked. Now, in terms of comedy, these cultists are exaggerated human beings, mostly reflected in their acting style and mannerisms. I like some of the scenes where they're flopping around like fish during their ceremonies and stuff. I like the scene where the protagonists get kicked out of one of the shrines by a group of mad cultists with masks on, and it was kind of funny the way that happened. But most of the humor in this is introduced through little moments and acting quirks, not huge gags or set pieces. But I did find it amusing. Runtime is a little bit over 2 hours. One reason for this is that we do get quite a bit of runtime showing the personal life of the Chief Elder and his family and colleagues. It does add some personality to the guy, but he wasn't quite as compelling as the bad guy from the first Taxing Woman film. There is also some focus on the sexual aspects of his private life, which, beware of some nudity, I guess. But yes, Nobuko Miyamoto is entertaining the lead role, and Yoriko Doguchi shows up in this. I completely forgot that she had a small role here. She shows up in a lot of Kiyoshi Kurosawa's films. And Tetsuro Tanba, a well-known classic actor, also shows up here. So get some recognizable faces. But I do recommend A Taxing Woman's Return. It's an easy recommendation, especially if you enjoyed the first Taxing Woman movie. All right, currently available streaming on the Criterion channel. And as always, I'll see you next time.